Hey guys, I haven't done one of these in a while, so you know it's going to be cool. Well, I think it's pretty cool. So you've all seen this model, the sternum model that comes apart so that the students can sew it back together. And there are the holes. The back is it's plain, just looks like that. We're gonna sit down this week with Ray and see if there are any changes to be made. But based on his email, he seemed pretty happy. The part that goes with this is, of course, the actual full human chest. Well, the front part anyway. Um, when I do finally cast this in silicone, I've just kind of held off because it's going to take so much resources, and I don't know if it's completely necessary yet. But the idea is that once it's actually cast in silicone and flexible, you can just slot the ribs in, and they'll just hold together inside. So the chest is just going to be pretty much part of the sternum model once it's all done. Once this is made, it'll be permanent. Like no one, hopefully, will be cutting into it because this part's probably the most expensive. And then the part that finished today was the actual part in the middle that will go over the sternum, like so. And then the students can cut into it because it's just flexible silicone. Why is it blue? Because we had a lot of the Oomoo silicone, and I decided to just use that instead of the more precious silicones that we have. The model came out okay. It's got the grooves necessary to slot itself into the sternum so that it'll just stay secure. And the ribs can pass through here for a little bit of extra security. But it'll rest in here once everything's said and done, and then the ribs will be in between the two layers, like a real person. But you'll notice that these two things have QR codes, and this is going to be where the fun part is. I've been bugging you guys a lot about augmented reality this week, but here's one of the applications that I'm most excited for when it comes to this sort of thing. So I totally forgot, just before we get to the augmented reality stuff, I had to assemble the two pieces together, and I needed both hands for that. So here's the skin, lies just on top of the sternum, fits nicely, so there are the grooves, goes one to one. Ribs pass through, or underneath, like that. And the whole thing is just securely held together, like that. Yep. So when the person actually goes to cut it, the thing won't move, right? So they can go all the way down. Okay, let's get to the augmented reality stuff. My computer, which is currently attached to this Android device. I have no idea if this makes any sense, but the computer is attached via USB to this Android phone that I have that I've been using this week. You can't see the phone, but the app that I made for VR is uploaded to it. So you're just going to have to take my word for it that it is actually an Android device. And let's see what happens when we point it at the chest. So as soon as it sees the initial skin part here, it begins to play this animation, basically showing the user exactly what you want them to do. So it's incredibly simple at this stage, but basically it's a training guide, I guess, to show them where to cut. And it's very basic. It clearly outlines what part of this simulation that they're on, so step one. And then if they pan over, like if they just shift their head over, I guess, they can see all the different instructions on the side. And then just like a very short animation. It just loops and basically tells them, hey, cut along the dotted line. Seems simple. All right, part two is like this. So I'm not going to cut it because I don't want to make another one of these things. But let's imagine that with this X-Acto knife, I slice right down the middle of the sternum, and I open the chest successfully. Oh, I gotta pause the video in order to do this, actually. Okay, we're back. So I've cut the skin open, and the sternum has been completely opened up into the two pieces. Operation successful, whatever. So let's put them back together. How do we do that? Well, they're gonna need to sew them back up, so they put the two pieces back together. And of course, the second animation starts to play. So now we're in section 2, like it says over here. So this is another type of guide that we can possibly start playing with, or have the idea of playing with. So basically it's showing the kinds of stitches that the students can do. So you can see these small dots moving back and forth for interrupted for these two regions. And then up here, it kind of shows you, if I can get a better angle on this, let's see. It kind of shows you a running stitch pattern, or the figure 8 at least. It's a little bit tricky to get the positioning right now because the way that I coded this was actually straight on to the QR code, and right now I'm at a weird angle. But you can see that the animations combined with the on-screen text is actually helping contextualize exactly what's going on, and you can stop the animation anytime by splitting it and then start it again just by putting it back together. So one of the complaints is that obviously I'm holding the phone right now, but you can imagine that because it's so easy to actually switch this thing to a stereoscopic view, you can put this into a Google goggles or Google Cardboard, whatever, strap to the person's face and just go completely hands-free. So basically you've given them a heads-up display of exactly what task that they're supposed to be doing during the simulation with your 3D printed objects. Does it have to be these two QR codes? Because they're kind of ugly. No. The only reason I used QR codes for this demo was so that I knew that they would work. QR codes are great 2D targets for this, but you can use text, you can use 3D objects, like you've seen me carry around that aortic valve, this guy, like all week. But the QR codes worked, and it was just pretty much perfect for this kind of an example. So that's where we are with what I've been doing with the augmented reality stuff. I think it's pretty cool. I don't know what else to use it for right now, but this is kind of the tip of the iceberg for another layer of information that you can possibly add to these models and enrich, simulations. That's it for now. Goodbye.